Our automobile traffic, meanwhile, ended up being about 23% of what we'd expect for the month of April. We're down 25,000 automobiles, 22,000 of them on the Vineyard route, 3,000 on the Nantucket route. And for trucks, we were about 40% of what the norm would be. It's about 10,000, a little over 10,000 units. 7,000 of those were on the Vineyard route and 3,000 were on the Nantucket route. So some quick, it's going to be before we close the month. It'll be a couple weeks here, but it's safe to say that with those decreases in traffic, that we're going to be taking at least a $5 million hit against our projected revenues for the month of April. There'll be other revenues that will likewise be down in terms of other services and a little more in terms of like driver services and things like that, which we had stopped providing. So if there's no
may I ask a question?
Sure.
So we're $5 million off for the month, including these other services or excluding?
Excluding. So just those traffic numbers alone, looking at what average revenues would have been, a year ago for those categories, it's a $5 million hit. And then there's other categories that we have, miscellaneous operating revenues, they'll also factor in. So, when it's all said and done, I would expect that number to be north of $5 million.
I appreciate the response. I can't say thank you, but I appreciate the response.
Through May 4th, our traffic numbers have ticked up just slightly. So instead of being down 16%, we're down 24% on passengers, but that's because it was a nice weekend and we had a lot of traffic, passenger traffic coming. But it's now that we're into the weekdays, it seems to be ticking back down to where it was. The automobile traffic is up slightly. These aren't significant movements, but again, those short-term trends seem to be up a little. We do have some information regarding bookings. So last time we met, we talked about summer bookings and where they're at. Yeah, if you have that. Mm-hmm. John's putting up the screen. Hold on.
I see it.
You can see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So those numbers, the biggest difference was in the month of May. In terms of the reservation activity, we went from a week ago having 16,600 reservations for the month of May. We went up to 21,000. In the meantime, a year ago, we had gone from 33,000 up to 45,000. So while we went up, we didn't go up at the same pace that we did a year ago. The other months are basically those numbers are just slightly up in every case. With the exception of September, actually, yes, September's up too. So, but it's very small. It's we're talking in some cases only 30 reservations for an entire month a week later. So, but they're holding at this point. We have started to see some cancellations, but the net in the last day or two has been a positive reservation activity. So we'll see as people get closer to the travel times whether those reservations will hold. Any questions regarding bookings? Hearing none?
Bob, I do have a question. I'm still confused about what the numbers on the left side refer to, because we're not actually talking about 21,000 reservations, are we?
Yes.
So we do have 21,000 reservations for
Well,
May?
a round trip is going to count as 2.
Okay, okay, all right, thank you. Okay.
All right,
May I ask a question?
certainly.
And maybe I'm jumping the gun. Have you projected, if we keep it May's level, just assuming we keep at May's level through September, and we don't get any additional funding, what happens? Thank you, Kate. Yes, what happens?
Yeah.
Have you
so we
projected
have-
that out? I mean, we wouldn't be able to operate through September, would we?
Yeah, we have different scenarios that we've looked at. I'm just trying to find them here. One of those scenarios is whether we had continued with the same traffic levels through the end of the year. I think we, here it is. The projections at that point were, under that scenario, was that it'd be a $60 million hit against the projected revenues. So basically about half of what our revenues would be for the what we had projected. I think we've looked at other scenarios where there's a gradual uptick as we go along, and those scenarios, well, it's not a completely rosy picture. Is not as bad, obviously, but we're still looking at, you know, if we only get up to say 75% of what our normal traffic volume is for starting in July through the remainder of the year, we're looking at a $40 million hit against our projected revenues.
But when do we run out of cash? If we, like, May is pretty consistent with June.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of argument, if July and August were at May and June's level,
Yeah. So,
when would we run out of cash?
yeah. So in terms of the cash, we get about 8 million right now, a little under 8 million in our accounts.
And we can borrow 10.
Well, yeah, well, with excluding the 10, because that's a line of credit. We're going to have to pay that back.
No, I
we get-
understand, but I'm just trying to figure out if we have that 8 million that we just got.
Yeah.
And our traffic levels are at May and June's level throughout the rest of the summer. And we use the $10 million line of credit, when will we run out of cash?
If we keep the current level of traffic, we're looking at we'd be able to extend it without the line of credit. We'd extend it to the end of July. Then we would be using that to get through August and into September with the line of credit.
So if we stayed at today's traffic levels,
Yeah.
and we fully drew down up the line of credit,
Yeah.
and we had no additional funding, we would be out of cash in September?
Yeah. So back in the middle of April, when we were looking at it, we were projecting that it would be the end of May. And now we have the CARES Act money that's in theory going to be coming to us sooner. We did end up at the end of April about $1 million ahead of where we projected to be. We did have some receipts coming in. There was actually some reimbursements for some of the grants that we had that came in. So we ended up getting that. So we're, you know, at this point with the current cash, we're going to be able to get to the middle of June. Then you start adding in the CARES Act money and the monies for the NTD program. That'll get us into through July and into August, and then we'd have the line of credit that we'd have to tap then. So, you know, at this point, even with the current traffic levels, I think we can get to Labor Day. But again, things change. Things seem to be changing pretty quickly here in the last month and a half. So don't hold me to that.
Well, I think Moira's question, this is Malcolm. I think Moira's question, and I think I saw Kat nodding her head, goes back to what is the business model that will allow the Steamship Authority to operate when in these reduced circumstances if they continue. And I would request directly that this is something that gets brought up in our and discussed, at least in preliminary form, with the board at our meeting next week.
Well, yeah, and I would agree, thank you so much, because if we have cash, say through Labor Day, we can, with the line of credit and with the CARES Act money, then after Labor Day, our bookings naturally start going down anyway.
Yep.
You know, that's my biggest concern is how do we sustain at least bare bones transportation to both islands so that we can get, you know, freight over there, the goods and services to service first and foremost the islanders.
Yep.
You know, regardless of what Oak Bluffs, you know, and Oak Bluffs terminal and the business, regardless of what they say, our first priority is to make sure the Steamship Authority can operate with, you know, the most lean of finances to service the people that reside on both islands. That's my concern.
I just want to respond to that, and I think we should discuss this at length in our regularly scheduled meeting rather than on this update. But one of the things that we need to look at and consider is when you say the people who are resident on the island, many of the people who are resident on the island rely upon an industry that involves people who come to the island, just as people in Mashpee Village and the shopping centers on the Cape and across the nation rely on consumers. So that's something to keep in the back of your head as well. But let's get into that in detail at our regular meeting, if you don't mind.
We are looking at the scenarios and what level of service we need to be at for the summertime. You know, we've been taking it right now. We've been taking it in smaller pieces to try to get there, but overall, we need to be looking at the bigger pieces to what level of service we feel is going to be necessary for the summer.
Right, but it's service, it's boats. I mean, it's the whole business model. It really is a question of if we have demand, we need to meet the demand. And if there is no demand, then we have to deal with that too. So that's what I'm looking to hear from you. Can we move on? Robert?
I guess the other thing I had was regarding Oak Bluffs.
Mm-hmm.
In that, so we continue to look at this. We've had we got the bid package out last week. We're starting to hear back from vendors that would normally be bidding on this project, and what we're hearing from them is that between the time frame of the delivery of the materials and the work that needs to be done, that the June 22nd date becomes problematic. In light of that, we're looking at what we can do for the project in terms of trying to get to that date. One alternative would be to send out, we got a revised construction schedule prepared, which would entail just doing the repairs to the minimum number of pilings and their pile caps to make it accessible for cars and pickup trucks and the like. No big trucks. We still haven't. I think the driving force on this still ends up being the materials that have been ordered, in particular the pile cap material. On when that will be done, but we're thinking that in order to make that date, that's probably the only route that we have at this point. But that would entail, again, we're going to be looking at the schedules anyways, but it would entail that we'd have to make adjustments to what's being run into Oak Bluffs during the season once it opens. The one thing I will point out is that I've had conversations with Angie Grant at the VTA about what can be done in the interim. And she was looking at schedules, but she didn't think it was going to be a problem to have bus service directly from Vineyard Haven to Oak Bluffs to meet our boats, to bring people over to Oak Bluffs during that time that the terminal is closed. So I think that at least gets the foot traffic over to Oak Bluffs. That any foot traffic that does come. So
let's go back to what you just said, so that I understand. What you're saying is that the preferred or the only option to get this operation going is to do a limited repair that would permit passengers, cars, and pickup trucks to use that facility. Now, if we were to do that, because it's a little bit like what Mr. Jones was talking about, if we do that limited, does that then get redone later, or is that just a piece of the entire project that we're going to do?
It wouldn't be as efficient. Those pieces wouldn't have to be done, but for instance, decking may need to be pulled up in that same location to address other issues, other pile caps, and the like. But again, we'd have the mobilization, demobilization for multiple phases of the project. It's just not as an efficient means to go about this.
But it does put off the major expense and does open the terminal. Is that correct?
It puts off an expense. I don't know how much of the major, because the materials themselves we've already ordered because of the lead time. We needed to order those ourselves. So we're already into it for the materials, and then we're looking at 13 out of the 35 piles that need to be being replaced. Over a third of them are going to have to be replaced under this reduced option.
Right, but labor is the big cost in these things. Am I correct or incorrect?
I'll defer to Mark on this.
Yes, labor is probably the critical path of both of the options is the pile caps, and we've reduced the pile caps down significantly to only 7% of the cap work in the full repair. So this option reduces the overall work scope 80%, as compared to the original full-term repair.
All right, so if you're going to do 20% of the work and be able to take passengers and cars and light pickups, is that correct?
That's correct. That's one of the options.
And when do we know whether that can happen?
The option is going out immediately, and the bid opening is going to be on Monday rather than Friday. I'm assuming that's correct, Bob?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay.
So the reason we can't get it done by the end of June is because it's limited materials, or we can't fit the project into that time frame?
Yeah, so the pilings are going to be available around, I think it's the 18th of May. So in terms of that, if we were to award a contract at the end of this week, it takes a week or two for mobilization. So the piles themselves would be arriving in time.
Okay.
But it's the pile caps that have the longest lead time. Those have to be cut. They have to be treated in order for that. And the estimate, the one lumber company that had the most aggressive delivery schedule also had the lowest price, so we went with them. I think they had those scheduled for a June 8th delivery on that material. So,
Do they have any change orders provisions?
for the lumber,
Yeah.
How realistic is that timetable?
yeah, I think it's just a matter of when the mills are able to cut the wood and to treat it. I'm also been told that some of that may actually come before. If it's ready, they'll ship it out as soon as they can. But they put a June 8th date as being the expected delivery.
Mark, if we get this stuff on June 8th, how long is this going to take?
Well, the pile cap that would be placing in is only 24 feet of the original 350 feet. So it's only about 6% of the pile cap. So the pile cap is the critical path on it. So we were looking at, and we're working with the supplier right now to get partial delivery as soon as the first pile cap be available. I think the risk profile drops with the limited scope that we've placed in this option.
Thank you. Thank you.
And how much does it add to the cost by doing it in 2 phases?
We haven't received the bids, so we can't calculate that at the moment.
So do we need a vote on this?
I thought we were going to wait until we actually had a proposal to accept
Okay.
or not accept.
Okay.
So that was my understanding.
I
that
believe
correct?
so. I guess the question is whether going along the lines of this limited scope of work as opposed to the whether there's any objections to that or not.
Well, we currently have, unless I'm wrong, we currently have a request for proposal out for the entire thing. And now you're putting out a second request for proposal for the limited thing. Is that correct? So we have 2 requests out there.
No, it'll be up to the current proposal that's out there that this would be a reduced scope of the project.
So you want to modify the existing agreement that we agreed to send out?
The one that's already out on the street, we'd be changing that to this limited scope.
And you want a vote for that? We need a vote for that?
I don't know whether we need a vote, but if you know, like, we get the sense that that's an approach the board would like us to pursue, then we can do so.
I'm fine with expediting it.
Okay,
It still ends up being a vote of the board at the end, at the end here, so.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to send to the board, my sense, this is Rob in Nantucket. My sense is that we should do it.
do the
I'd like to
limit-
know, I'd like to know how it fits into the overall budget. If it's, you know, an unreasonably more expensive approach, then I would have my reservations. I'd have to be persuaded why it makes sense. If it's pretty much the same, then that would be fine too. I just don't have enough information yet.
Mark?
I agree with you, Kate.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I agree with Kate.
Mark, do you have a response to that? Other than the mobilization fees to restart the project in the fall, are there other significant costs that we should be aware of
Well,
which we should be aware?
There's no rework as a result, other than, say, lifting some decking in way of the pilings that we're proposing in this option. The difference is would be putting the 13 pilings would be putting in place would be the same pilings that we would be driving if we were to do the full term repair. No, there's no really variation in the work. It's just a limited work. So there's definitely further costs in mobilization, as Bob pointed out. And there may be some decking and some other minor costs, but I think over the project, we'll see when the bids come in, we can make a learned, a good decision at that point. But there's no extra work, and it's not any work that will have to be redone as a result of the limited scope repair.
Mr. Malcolm, may I ask a question?
Sure.
Bob, when you gave us the numbers about, when we could run through if we stayed at these levels, and we drew down on the line of credit, and you thought through Labor Day weekend, does that include the cost of doing this project? Is that factored into those numbers?
Yeah, I think when we were looking at our expenses, we had included keeping the Oak Bluffs project in there because of, the direction that the board had wanted us to pursue.
So you're sure about that, right?
I'm getting a nod from Mr. Rosen. Yes.
Could we actually see, I mean, I don't know how busy you guys are, but could we see a projection, how much time it would take to do a projection of where we are, cash receipt wise and expense wise, if we stay at May's and June's levels through the end of the year? Could we actually see that? Could you give us those, like
Yes.
a spreadsheet?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, Maura, I agree. I think that's one of the things that perhaps I wasn't as articulate in asking for in terms of what the business model needs to be. And I think you need that kind of a cash projection to get a sense of, all right, what can you do?
Yeah, I want to assume May and June's ridership and the expenses that we have to support May and June's ridership through the end of the year.
Okay, sure. And I think that should be part of our next week's meeting as well.
Great, thanks.
But to the Oak Bluffs thing, I would also support going forward with the what Mark and Bob have proposed in terms of a limited repair so that we can get this facility up and taking passengers, cars, and pickup trucks as soon as possible. All right, what else do we have to do today?
I think the next item on the agenda then would be the treasurer's report on the line of credit.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So I wanted to follow up on the last two meetings on where we stand with the line of credit. At the April 21st meeting, I was asked to go back and talk with Cape Cod 5 about better terms. In the meantime, we had another bank, MB Savings Bank, come with a proposal as well. Both entities were able to move the 12-month pay down period to 18 months. We do need that so that the loan instrument looks like a revenue anticipation note, because we can issue notes for revenue, but we can issue bonds, not issue bonds for that. Both was able to come down in the rate by a point with a minimum of 2.75, but MB Savings Bank came down where their minimum loan percentage is 2.5%. Comparing what the current rates today would be, Cape Cod 5 would be at 2.75, and Martha's Vineyard Savings Bank would be at 2.66, excuse me. So based on these numbers, I would recommend apples to apples going with MB Savings Bank. They have a lower minimum rate and a lower rate as of right now, and all terms are equal.
Great.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
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 No?
Oops.
Turn off his video.
How come we can't see Mr. Rainey?
He's on the phone.
Oh,
Bob, can we?
And I apologize about some of the documents coming late. We worked over the weekend and get the final documents. So,
And the payback period, or the
Would be
what are the other terms that apply to this?
it would be a 5-year term, variable rate, a zero amount outstanding for 30 days in an 18-month window.
Okay.
How do I start my video?
You're on, Bob.
You're on.
You're good, Bob.
Okay, well, I joined this thing 15 minutes earlier, so this wouldn't happen. And so anyways, Mac, thank you for going back to these banks. And as I said last time, these guys, will negotiate, but I am definitely in favor of New Bedford Bank. I know the guys, I like the guys at the other bank. We gave them an opportunity and they refused. So now that there's competition, they come back. So I think we go with a lower price and the first offer that got us where we want. But there's a warning that we have on taking a line of credit, is paying it back. And we need that extra 6 months so that I feel that our biggest expenses are going to be this year. And if they are this year, we'll have 6 months to figure out how to pay for it. We adjust our budgets for the following year. So you did a good job. You brought it in, and my vote would be to go with the New Bedford Bank.
And both banks have been very responsive and very easy to work with, and I thank them both for their efforts.
Well, I do too, but they wouldn't give it to us the first time.
True.
That's the point. Okay,
That's
do you need a motion? Do you need a vote? What do we need?
We need a motion and a vote, and then it would also, because we have the commercial line of credit resolution, which normally the secretary would authorize, but in the past, due to geographical restraints, the board has voted to authorize the clerk, which would be Terrence, to record the vote as well. So that would be something as well, just to facilitate this transaction, if you guys are comfortable with that.
Okay, is there any discussion on the transaction following Bob's comments? Is there a vote to execute the loan as proposed?
So
I'll make a
moved.
motion to that effect.
I'll second it.
Motion made, seconded. Is there a discussion? Hearing no discussion, it comes to a vote. It's a voice vote.
Roll call vote.
Jones,
Wilson,
aye.
I.
Roll call vote.
Roll call vote, yeah.
I heard a Wilson, aye.
Tierney, aye.
Thank you.
Randy, aye.
Jones, aye.
Malkin, aye. That's the vote. Thank you very much. Is there anything else you need on this end?
The vote on the,
To allow.
The vote to allow Terrence to act on behalf of the members?
Yes, please.
So moved.
I'll
Okay,
make it,
that's
yeah, I'll
moved
second that.
and that's seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, it comes to roll call vote again. This is to allow Terrence to act on behalf of the members in this instance.
Wilson,
Jones,
I.
Jones,
Wilson,
aye.
Jones. Okay, thank you.
Tierney,
Malcolm,
aye.
Randy, aye.
Okay. The ayes have it, as we say.
Thank you very much.
Anything?
Appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank you for your work on that one, Mark.
Yeah, nice work, Mark.
Thank you.
Anything further, Mr. Driscoll?
I do
I'm
have
Davis,
one,
I'm sorry.
I do have one other thing. We've been looking at the traffic levels and what the demand has been here. And we're looking at making some modifications to the schedules. So right up through this week, we've been having on the Vineyard Run, we've been having the Woods Hole running 7 days a week, and the Martha's Vineyard only running Monday through Friday. We saw going into the weekend that everything was sold out on the Woods Hole. We did put the Martha's Vineyard on the run. It was necessary. We needed to. The traffic levels did kick up enough, so we ran it both on Saturday and on Sunday. As we look at this going forward, we're thinking that as the weather starts getting a little better, that perhaps it's warranted to be changing that. So we're going to be changing the Martha's Vineyard schedule to being a double crew, meaning it can run 7 days a week, up to 4 trips a day. So we're going to be making that change effective on the 7th. In terms of that, on the Nantucket side, at this point, we're seeing that there's probably going to be more instances of us needing to run the 3rd trip of the Gay Head. Right now, we've been running 2. It's capable of running a 3rd trip if need be. The traffic levels and is kicking up a little bit, and I think it's related to the construction moratoriums being lifted. So we may be needing that, and they're actually we're also considering whether this weekend on Saturday whether we run one additional trip with the Gay Head, because a couple of the shippers we've talked with have a backlog of materials they want to get over to the island. So, but that's through May 20th is what that schedule is calling for now, and we'll need to come back with a recommendation for what we want to do going through Memorial Day weekend.
Okay, thank you. Anything further?
Other than that, and I think following last meeting, there was a couple of public comments that were submitted, and I don't know whether you want to address those now or.
Yeah, we had 2 public comments that were sent in last week. Bob, if you could give quick answers to those questions that were raised, and then we can move on and meet again later.
Well, could we hear the comment and then the
Yes,
answer?
yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
great.
please.
Okay, so the first comment was regarding the financial situation that we find ourselves in, and whether any notification was made to the towns in that regard. Yes, notification was made. Each of the members made notifications to their appointing bodies. in case of Falmouth, the selectmen addressed that issue at their April 27th meeting, and they voted to send a letter of support for funding requirements to the Commonwealth. I know on Nantucket in the Vineyard as well, they have likewise done that. I have, and I know Barnstable has contacted me as well. I haven't seen some of these letters yet, but I expect that they will be. And I believe Maura and Ed were able to talk with the mayor. Unfortunately, I got tied up and was unable to attend that meeting in a timely manner, and I apologize for that. But I have reached out to him, and I think he's all set at this point. So,
Who made this public comment?
that comment came from Mr. Trumbull. The second comment was regarding what are we doing regarding the Woods Hole project in light of the COVID, and whether we're making any modifications there. Again, the Woods Hole project is a capital project, so that's why the work continues, because those funds can only be used for that project. We're, in terms of the building, we have not made any we have not pursued anything in that regard. Our concentration has been on current operations and COVID. We do anticipate that we'll be needing to just sit down with the state building inspector and discuss when the variance for that temporary terminal building should expire versus when they're thinking it should expire, and what it's going to take to get an extension on that variance. But the application that we put in had been that the temporary terminal building would be necessary for 4 to 5 years while the construction's going on. That building opened in December of 2017. So, our position is going to be that at the very least that variance should extend until December of 2021. So.
Yeah, that's something that we should definitely work on sooner rather than later on that variance, I think.
Great.
Those were the two public comments that I'm aware of. I don't know if anyone.
Who made the last public comment?
Jonathan Goldberg. Goldman, excuse me.
Okay, then I appreciate everyone taking the time for this update. I would say, just as a setup for our meeting next week, where Moira and others have asked that we look at what our operations would be going forward, what our business model would be. One of the concerns I have in my new learning about the Steamship Authority is how much of our profitability derives from passengers. So I'd be very interested in knowing what the competitors for passenger traffic who we've licensed, what they are planning on doing for operations, what our agreements with them are, and as we look at the business model going forward, what we should do about this diversion of revenue to competitors that we license for our most lucrative routes. So I think that's something that we ought to consider as well. So having said that, unless anybody has anything else, we'll wrap this up. Oh, one other thing. If you're opening the bids on this Oak Bluffs thing on Friday or Monday, when should our meeting be to decide what we're doing going forward?
I think we need to. I think we need to extend it until Monday. So that would be, if we're going to be having a Tuesday meeting anyways, we could address it Tuesday morning. That we have this time to evaluate them.
Okay, so we're opening them on Monday, so we'd have a meeting on Tuesday morning.
Yep.
Is that okay with all of the members?
Yeah,
Yes.
will you send us the information in advance of the meeting so we can look at it?
We'll endeavor to do
Please.
so. Yes.
Well, how about doing so? Because it's very hard to make a decision without thinking about it. Thank you.
Understood. I don't know whether a staff summary will be able to be prepared, but Tuesday evening or whether it's going to be Tuesday morning, so. Excuse me, Monday
Monday evening would be fine. We're all early risers and late sleepers these days. Okay. Is there, with nothing further, I'd suggest that we have a motion and we dissolve the meeting.
Is there any public?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Good.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Is there
motion
any
made.
public comment though?
But I was just asking.
I'm sorry, where were we?
I didn't know
Any
whether,
go ahead, Bob.
I didn't know whether there was any public comment that was sitting out there.
Or do you want them to email me like you did last week?
Yes, I would proceed like last week. Have them send the comments in and we'll deal with them at the end of the following meeting.
Well, if there are only a few, it would make sense to be able to have the whole purpose of this is to keep people up to date. So if there are only a few,
Yeah, I agree
what
with
do we
you.
have?
I'm not going to be able to stay.
Say what?
I'm not going to be able to stay for that. I have to go.
Okay,
All right.
stay safe.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, Bob.
Bye,
Take care,
Rob.
Rob. Bye, Rob. Okay. Do you have public comments, Sean?
If anyone has a question, hit the raise hand icon or star, I can't remember what it is now. Star 9 on your keypad. I don't know if this is an old one or a new one, so let's see. No, I'm not sure. Do you have a new question or is this left over from the recording?
No, this is a new question. Hi, can everyone hear me? This is Noah from
Yes.
Zet. I'm wondering, what bank did you guys actually go with for the line of credit?
What bank?
It was Martha's Vineyard Savings Bank.
Okay, could you maybe just talk a little bit about what the process was for choosing were both banks originally reached out to?
Well, originally we were we're dealing with, and Mark Rosen can assist me here. Originally, we were dealing with banks that we had relationships with. We did not reach out to Martha's Vineyard Savings Bank, even though we have a relationship with them, because we didn't want to be interfering with their abilities to be able to provide funding to any of the island businesses that were looking for funding at the same time. They reached out to us afterwards to say that that wasn't an issue, that they were capable of doing this. They want to submit a proposal, so they were told to do so.
Okay, thank you. And the one other question I had was, is June 22nd, is that a best case scenario date for Oak Bluffs?
I think until the bid proposals are submitted, that's the date that we'll still have as being the targeted date. Yes.
Thank you.
That's all I see, Mr. Malkin.
I'm sorry?
That's all the public comment I have.
Okay, well, we had a motion then to adjourn and the second, all in favor? Roll call vote,
Aye,
please.
Wilson, aye.
Malkin, aye.
Tierney, aye.
Okay, everybody, stay safe. Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Live long and prosper.